Hello folks, welcome to Board Game Corner. I'm Mark.
And I'm Ann.
This week we're taking a look at GemPacked Cards. We're trying to help Geminos get to the rocket and escape Earth.
GemPacked Cards is a game for 2 to 5 players ages 6 and up. It plays in about 20 minutes and is published by Pencil First Games.
Great, well let's see if we can save these Geminos. Geminos are of the stars, commonly hitching rides on asteroids. They love to travel and always seek out new planets. And now they've arrived on Earth. The Space Geminos need your help. The objective of GemPacked Cards is to be the player with the most victory points at the end of the game by leveling up and saving Geminos. Mix and match their colors to gather as many as you can and load them up in their rocket ship to the stars.
Like Mark said, the goal of the game in GemPacked Cards is to be the player with the most victory points at the end of the game. The game comes with Gemino pips, Gemino squares, and Gemino diamonds. It also comes with some bonus cards, which we'll cover later on. To set up the game, you'll place the Gemino pips face down to form the pip pile. Each player takes 2 pips and places them face up directly in front of them. Shuffle the main deck of cards and place 9 cards face up in a 3x3 grid. Shuffle the rocket cards and place them face up, 3 of them face up next to the grid, along with 1 sun, 1 red dwarf, and 1 nova. This is the setup for a 2-player game, but the game scales for 3 to 5 players, and the setup will look similar. You'll just add additional pips and cards depending on the number of people that are playing the game. On your turn, you'll draw 2 pips from the pip pile and place them face up directly in front of you. After that, you can perform any of the following actions as many times as you would like and in any order. First, you can buy a square, which is done by discarding 2 pips that can be combined to make that square's color. For example, 2 blue pips make 1 blue square. 2 red pips make 1 red square. Or a blue pip and a red pip can be combined to make a purple square. In addition to buying squares, you can also sell squares. Discard 1 square card to purchase 2 pips that can be combined to make that square's color. For example, you can sell 1 purple square for 2 purple pips, or you could sell a purple square for 1 red pip and 1 blue pip, even if you didn't use those colors to purchase the square originally. Your third action is to buy a diamond. You do this by discarding 2 squares that can be combined to make the color of the diamond, just the same as you did with the pips and the squares. You can also purchase bonus cards as actions during your turn. And finally, if you didn't do anything on your turn, then you can draw an extra pip. In addition to the primary and secondary color Geminos, the game includes a rainbow Gemino as a wild card. This Gemino may be played as any color when making a purchase throughout the game. So a blue pip and a wild pip can be used to purchase a blue square, or a blue pip and a wild pip can be used to purchase a purple square, with the wild pip acting as a red pip to make the color purple. Wild squares and wild diamonds can also be purchased in the normal way: 2 wild pips for 1 wild square, and 2 wild squares for 1 wild diamond. Or, alternatively, you can use 2 colored pips in place of each 1 wild pip, or 2 colored squares in the place of each 1 wild square. Sometimes this can be advantageous because the wild Geminos are highly valued and helpful throughout the game. Let's take a look at those bonus cards that I mentioned earlier. Suns and red dwarfs are similar in that they both require pips to purchase them. The sun can be purchased for 3 pips of any color for a total of 1 victory point. The red dwarf can be purchased for 5 pips for a total of 2 victory points. The Nova card is similar to these 2, but it is purchased with squares rather than pips. You need 3 squares for this bonus card, and you will get 6 victory points. In addition to these bonus cards are the rocket cards. Rocket cards can be purchased for the price of all 4 of the Geminos listed on the card. To purchase this card, for example, you would need 1 red pip, 1 orange square, and 2 diamonds, 1 purple and 1 green. Rocket cards are worth either 9 or 11 victory points, depending on how difficult they are to purchase. After you finish purchasing and selling cards, you'll refill the 3x3 grid with cards from the deck, and then the next person will begin their turn. One thing to note is that you will never refill the bonus cards. Once they're gone, they're gone. There are two non-Gemino type of cards that you'll come across in the main deck: Chomet and Asteroids. When you come across the blue Chomet card, he will eat one card adjacent to him per player in the game. Each player gets to pick which card they would prefer for him to destroy. As for the asteroids, there are small, medium, and large asteroids in the deck. When you come across an asteroid, each player draws an extra pip or pips as indicated by the number on the asteroid. After you've fed Chomet or collected your extra pips, you'll remove the card and replace it with a new card from the deck. Alright, that's it! Once the final pip has been drawn, the player who drew the last pip finishes his or her turn. The rest of the players get one final turn, and then you tally up victory points on each of the squares, the diamonds, and the bonus cards. Whoever has the most points wins.
All right, so what do we think of this game? So it is a very light, very family-friendly game, and I think you could easily engage the kids into this. And the cutesy graphics, I think will appeal to them.
Definitely.
It's definitely got a fun little theme for them, for the kids and the family in general. Just help these Geminos get to the rocket ship and get off. So that's pretty fun. Now, it's very important to note that everything you've seen in this video is a prototype. So all the components and the cards are not final. So just keep that in mind. But also, there is an app that has a very similar theme and feel to it than the card game does, right? And Anne, I think, is an expert because she beat it in one sitting. So tell us more about it.
Yeah, so when Edo gave me access to the app, I thought it would be a great way to start because the card game is actually based upon the app. Mm-hmm. So the app is a puzzle game. It starts off a little bit slow. They teach you how the pips and the squares and the diamonds work. And then they start throwing in the chomets and the asteroids, and it gets pretty intense.
That's awesome.
And I think there are future plans
to add more to it.
For some more as well, yeah. And I think the app relates to the card game very well.
It's like almost a companion to give you the same feel that you play when you have the card game, right?
It is, exactly.
But it is a different game.
Yes, right, yeah. It's not one-to-one by any means. The app is a solo puzzle game. The card game is a competitive card game.
Yeah, right. Cool. Well, yeah, you should definitely check it out. I think it's available now, right?
It is. The app is available now, and then everything should be up on Kickstarter as you're watching this video.
Great. Well, folks, again, this is a prototype, and you should really think about supporting them. This is a fun little game. So that's our overview of this game, and we hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.